Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DNA Crows. I am your co-host, Andrew, the Comic Crow, and this is our other co-host,
Dean, the not Comic Crow.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finally got a title for him. Okay, everybody, so we're just going to cover something that's a little bit more breaking in the news. It turns out Facebook is they decided to start banning people on the far right. And I don't even know how to say it like that, because really it seems like they're targeting people that are just extremely controversial, many for legitimate reasons. But
is it legitimate to ban them?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not saying that the reasons for being upset
let me give out the names of the people that are being banned. We're going to cover the Washington Post hot take of stupidity on this. And then, is it right to remove these people? The people in question would be Alex Jones, Louis Farrakhan, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Laura Loomer. Those would be the four big names that I'm aware of right now.
I'm sure the list will get bigger.
Well, as long as you let this one go through.
Yeah, exactly.
Generally, that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Anyways, like I said, we're going to talk about the Washington Post hot take of stupid on this. They've apparently decided that Louis Farrakhan, Barack Obama's former minister, the dude who pals around with the Women's March, he's far right.
Yeah. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I think that's just, no, I don't.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, this guy's a human scumbag. He refers to Jewish people as termites, spreads the most asinine anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. It's just a hateful bigot on all levels.
Yeah. You gotta wonder how some of these people get so far.
You know, here's the thing: when you're like that and nobody's willing to call you out, and people that are squeaky wheel gets the grace, the loudest voice in the room.
How did nobody call him out for
it probably has something to do with being Obama's minister.
But how did he even get to that point? Because what? Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter.
Hatred and intolerance always embraced by the left. Yeah, I know. I had to do it. Okay, the other thing would be Milo Yiannopoulos, and I would say that he is more like...
I mean, I would say he's a pretty right-leaning person.
Oh, definitely. But
okay, because I was like, are we gonna
He's a very provocative person.
Yeah.
And he did actually do something really stupid, because as far as I understand it, he did actually say he was alt-right until he figured out exactly what the alt-right was. And then
what?
He's not.
Yeah, I'm one of those things I don't know about.
Yeah, he's not an intelligent person.
No.
Which is why I mean, idiots can speak too. I haven't seen him actually say anything other than to just piss people off.
Yeah, he does like to do that. I don't like him really personally.
Yeah. But again,
do I believe that he should be able to stay on Facebook?
Laura Loomer, I don't really know too much about Laura Loomer, so. Maybe she's done something bad. I don't think so. I think she's just, again, a really staunch conservative person who has said some stupid things, maybe. And please, if she said something really awful, don't use it as evidence that I support awful things. That'd be messed up.
You heard it here first.
Because edit my clips out of context.
Andrew supports awful things.
And then finally, I would say Alex Jones. Now,
he's not far right.
He's not. He actually he got a lot of hatred from conservatives for two things.
Yeah.
The first would be opposing the Iraq War. The second, I think he pissed off George Bush.
Well, yeah. So the left used to love Alex Jones.
Yeah, they did.
They loved him when George Bush was president.
They loved him as much as they used to love Julian Assange.
Yeah, no, true. But they loved him because he
hate him just as much as they hate Julian Assange.
Yeah, I would maybe put Julian Assange a little higher on their hate list.
If they could block both in a cage, they would.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, so he used to just troll George Bush back when he was president.
Hey, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I might have been a little too young to remember that.
I remember it. I'm like, he was very left-leaning at the time.
Well, and I don't even think he was left-leaning.
Yeah, very anti-war.
Anti-George Bush. He's basically anti...
A lot of people are anti-George Bush.
Yeah. Not anymore, surprisingly.
Oh yeah, they love George Bush now that they got Trump.
Yeah.
Think about it.
He's just an old man that, paints and...
So here's the Washington Post ever the bastions of truth and wisdom, have decided to label all these figures far right. And I would say, and Facebook's reasoning is that they are dangerous.
But did they violate the terms of service?
It doesn't sound like it, but
yeah.
One of them definitely, which would be
Milo?
No, Farrakhan.
What do you do?
Dude, Farrakhan's got a tweet up right now that still is calling Jewish people termites.
Yeah.
And Twitter will not take it down. Twitter, you are fucking cowards. I'm just going to say it right. Yeah. But to say that Louis Farrakhan is a far-right individual in that group, I'm done with this. You know what? This whole stupid little label game, you want to say that they're being thrown off because they're all dangerous? Fine. You want to lie about someone's political ideology so that you can go ahead and slander a group? Go fuck yourself. Like, seriously, go fuck yourself, Washington Post. You are terrible, terrible, dirty, dirty smear merchants.
Yeah. That's a good insult.
It's from Sargon of Akkad.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
I am unoriginal on every level.
Quoting an alt-right person.
Quoting an alt-right person, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's how this works, right? Everybody is a terrible being as soon as you disagree with them. Now, again, I would say that Milo Yiannopoulos definitely, at one point identifying himself with that hate group, the alt-right.
Yeah, but
as far as this whole dangerous label goes, Laura Loomer, I haven't seen her advocating for violence of any kind.
Let me look up Laura Loomer just a little bit. We can do it on stream.
Yeah, go ahead.
Live.
And beyond that, beyond Laura Loomer, we then move into Alex Jones. Now, Alex Jones is just a conspiracy nutter. I'm no disrespect to anyone that works for InfoWars. You guys kind of do some really insane conspiracy stuff. Some of it's really entertaining. I think it's entertaining to watch, but if you believe this stuff, some of it's true, a lot of it's false. But the reason why Alex Jones is being targeted the way he is because they still push that he is someone who denies the Parkland shooting and that he says it's all a false flag operation and yada, yada, yada. This is vehemently untrue. He's several times come out, said that he does not believe that it was false flag, that if he offended anyone with one comment in the past, he's very sorry. And this is years and years and years of our very dirty, dirty smear merchants in the media, like the Washington Post, coming out and stating to everybody that he does believe Parkland was fake.
But they actively don't air it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Well, go ahead.
It's hard to say if I had a channel, if I would even care enough to talk about the fact that he no longer denies it. So I can't necessarily blame him for not airing it. However, to continue to smear him, saying he believes
look at
different.
Look at the fact that when he was able to come back onto YouTube by taking part in Joe Rogan's podcast, it was something like Joe Rogan had the highest viewed podcast ever that he's done. I mean, we're talking like millions of views because people like Alex Jones, they find him funny, they find him entertaining. And yeah, you can find plenty of clips of this dude tearing off his shirt and screaming about how they're making the frogs gay.
I love that.
I know, right? It's really funny.
They're putting chemicals in the water, turning the frogs gay.
But here's the thing.
So there's another person who was banned. InfoWars contributor. I can read.
Paul Joseph Watson got banned?
Yeah, he got banned.
What the fuck, guys? Come on. I see Paul Joseph Watson's tweets all the time. I guess that because he's very critical of Islam, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of that, but at the same time, I think that they conflate talking about Islamic extremists and Islamic fundamentalists who are terrible people, right? They are terrible people. Let's make this very clear. Those people are awful. They do not represent the religion as a whole. When you conflate criticizing people like that with all of Muslims, trust me, ain't Paul Joseph Watson I'm concerned with, it's you fucking bigots. Honestly.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Yeah, straight up.
So Facebook has said in an email to Gizmodo, we've always banned individuals or organizations that promote or engage in violence and hate, regardless of ideology. Facebook said in a statement emailed to Gizmodo, which I already said, the process for evaluating potential violators is extensive, and it is what led us to our decision to remove these accounts today.
Did you ban Antifa? I just want to know. Be honest with me, Facebook. You banned the Antifa accounts, a group that's several times been accused of the worst kinds of shit. Not even accused, convicted of things like punching a woman in the face and throwing her to the ground. They make jokes about stealing people's equipment, beating people with bike locks, attacking a Jewish man and telling him to prove he's Jewish. What about the 2 Marines that they assaulted? And they called them wetbacks when they said that they were Mexican and not white nationalists. Are you banning them? Because I really doubt it. Go fuck yourself, Facebook.
Right, and continuing the article.
Yeah, you got me into a rant there.
I didn't.
You're reading Gizmodo.
So
Gizmodo can fuck themselves too.
Yeah.
Our video is just gonna be so deering.
Yeah. Other notable people who were banned today include Paul Nealon, a white supremacist and neo-Nazi from Wisconsin, Louis Farrakhan, who has a long history of anti-Semitism on the national stage, and internet figure Laura Loomer, who is anti-Muslim. Here's the interesting thing about this article, though. It doesn't say that that's what Facebook said. So likely Facebook didn't give those reasons. Gizmodo is just
justifying it.
Now, I'm not going to say that Paul Nealon isn't a white supremacist, or he is. I don't know. I don't know who Paul Nealon is.
I don't know either. I'll take their word for it just because they ain't using that label with anybody else.
However, I'm going to look up Laura Loomer, anti-Muslim. I got to look more into this.
No, sure. Here's the thing that really pisses me off, and like I said, Sargon of Akkad gets accused of it all the time. Mm-hmm. Just because you're critical of a religion, it doesn't make you anti that religion. It does not. And if you think it does, you have a whole bunch of nasty, messed up bigots working in mainstream media who just hate Christians. And I'm talking about to an extremely bigoted level. You have many politicians who carry open hatred towards Christians under this premise. Should we just ban everybody critical of religion? No, that's not the way our country works. You can say things about Islam. Islam can be criticized. When you try to equate just being critical of a religious ideology with actual hatred towards that religion, let me explain what's actually going to happen. Actual psychopaths, actual fundamentalists, actual extremists are going to see your idiocy and take advantage of your stupid. 100%. They're going to jump in and they're going to push the most fringe nonsense. And you are not going to be able to criticize them because you've just said you can't criticize that religion. And what are you going to do to the other side? All the people that you're banning, all the people you're trying to remove, you are only going to justify their hatred. You're only going to justify their paranoia. And it's only ever going to result in people getting violent because you're removing their ability to speak.
Here's the thing, is even if, in my opinion, even if your speech is hateful, I believe you have every right to it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think you should have hateful speech. Obviously not. I don't talk with hateful speech. I don't have friends that do. But you have the right. You do. The only thing is, unless you are inciting violence, you have every right to say what you want to say. And for these platforms that say we're about free speech, you're not.
No, absolutely not.
Just be honest. Be like, yo, we're not about free speech. We don't think these.
You know what
just
they say?
Just say you're not about free speech.
You know what they go and say now is, well, because the private company, they can do what they want, and then they try to shame conservatives as not supporting the free market. But here's the thing: the reason why they do this is because they have special legal protections preventing them from being sued for the content on their platform, because realistically, they should not be choosing what content to promote, what content to remove. Once they start doing that, you're a publisher of the content on your site, meaning you should be legally responsible for the content that you're allowing on your site. Straight up, Facebook,
that's
YouTube,
how the law works.
That is, but they've all been granted these special exceptions. So I'll make a deal here with anybody who wants to say that I'm wrong. If you want to remove those protections, those legal ramifications that they should absolutely be subject to, if they want to act like they're publishers, then they should be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But right now, they are just dancing around in this complete little area of safety, which they do not deserve by the way that they are acting, because they were granted those protections under the understanding they would not be responsible for deranking, for removing people for things that don't violate their own terms of service.
I'm going to add to that. I'm going to say Laura Loomer is anti-Muslim.
Well, probably.
But here's the thing. You have every right to be.
Yeah, look, you can be anti-Christian, you can be anti-Jewish, you can, I don't support
I don't think
it.
you're good, yeah. We don't
I think
support
it makes
that.
you a bad person.
Definitely.
But look, if you want to be critical of a religious ideology, which is probably what she is, probably what Paul Joseph Watson is.
I mean, she is critical, but to an offensive degree. Let me just read what she said. She said, "Islam is cancer," in a tweet. She also said, and that's what I read. I wasn't able to actually pull up the full tweet because it's gone now. So if that is wrong, I got bad information. But she did say to Omar that
Ilhan Omar, the anti-Semite?
Yeah, to the anti-Semite. She's told her that you are part of a religion where homosexuals are oppressed and women are abused and forced to wear hijab. Omar is the first, blah, 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 blah. And then she later said, because she got banned from Twitter for that, she later said, I didn't break Twitter's terms of service. Everything I said is 100% true and is factual. It's not malicious, it's not mean, it's not hateful.
Let me actually be very clear here, and I'm saying this as a Muslim. Laura Loomer's post there is not incorrect for fundamentalists. It really is not. Fundamentalist Islam is very present in the Middle East. Hold on.
But she wasn't talking.
No, she was talking about Ilhan Omar, right? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. As I said, I think Ilhan Omar is a fundamentalist. Okay?
Oh, you do think she's...
I totally do.
Okay.
For several reasons, and I think a lot of it is her associations with anti-Semites, with outed anti-Semites, with the CARE organization, who has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, who are finally getting to label as a terrorist organization, an extremist organization, because they are. So, look, I think the reason why you need to let people be critical and let them speak is because when you take away their ability to speak, you are not taking away the idea from them. You're not taking away from their followers either.
You're making it worse.
You're trying to like sweep it all under the rug.
Well, yeah, but you just push them in with even more hateful people.
Even more paranoid people, even more violent people.
And those are the people that are going to accept them. I mean, that's just what it is. And so
you're going to convince them that they were removed unfairly because they were removed unfairly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about convincing them.
And then when they run into actual terrible people, actual white nationalists or something like that.
Well, guess who's gonna?
You know what they're going to say? They lie about us too. They do it to us too. It's not us, it's them you need to be angry with. And well, any rational person engaging in a rational conversation is going to be able to see that. You've removed them from the rational conversation.
I mean, who else do they have to talk to?
Nobody.
At that point? Nobody wants to. Then the sad thing is nobody wants to defend somebody that's being called a Nazi.
Look, when I see these posts online,
they're not.
I'm offended. Don't get me wrong. I am offended when I see Paul Joseph Watson tweeting out this shit. I still follow his Twitter. I do because, A, I want to know what the guy says. And when I see people getting crazy in the comments, I try to jump in and say something. And yeah, I've had people say some really nasty shit to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's online. It's Twitter. Let people speak. You have no issues letting people go onto your platforms, right? And actually promote violence. Antifa, you have no issue with letting them have their accounts. You have no issue with communists. You have no issue with people praising out the worst of the worst, right? I mean, Twitter still allows Louis Farrakhan to post his anti-Semitic crap.
Yeah.
You guys don't care.
Yeah, you can't even pretend that you guys are on some fair scale here because it's just It's not. I mean, and I'm a part of the left. You know what I mean?
Well, look at
not very far left.
They don't just they don't just leave someone like Louis Farrakhan up. They try to black out someone like Steven Crowder.
Yeah.
Say whatever you want about the guy. He's not a hateful person. He's not spreading hatred. He does the change my mindset, and they remove those videos.
You want to know who is spreading hatred? Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah.
Like, actively spreading hatred.
So I was looking at this post and from Steven Crowder, and someone's like tweeting at him, "Hey, I can't find your podcast. It won't autofill unless I type out your entire name and then hit search, and then I can find it." And he goes, "Yeah, we've known about it for a while." Why? Because you're so disingenuous. You will not engage in active conversation. You won't engage in active debates with even a milquetoast conservative. You want them all purged from the conversation. Why? Because you're not adults. You're fucking children.
Well, because they can't have the conversation.
Because they're not adults.
I mean, say what you want about the adults thing. Yeah, like
I really don't think
but here's the thing: is they can't have the conversation because they don't have any backing. It's just not fair. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you can debate. These people can be hateful, but because you're on the right, you can't be hateful.
Well,
and even sometimes people on the right aren't even hateful.
Look at the people that they target, right? Ben Shapiro, right? You know, my wife's a doctor. Look, the dude's just a conservative. A very staunch conservative, but definitely not a hateful one.
Yeah.
He just has his political beliefs. What do they do? Well, as left shifts over here, they want to say, well, this is the new normal, right? This new side is the new normal of the left, and since you're all the way over here, that must make you far right, and anyone over here is still an asshole.
Yeah.
Look, what's going on with Steven Crowder? They demonetize his Change My Mind videos, right?
Dude, he just has so many problems with the Change My Mind. I mean, did you watch the school? I mean, well, they're always out of school. Did you watch the one where he tried to have two kids
and they say, well, if you have two students talking to each other on stage, we're gonna have to remove you.
What is it about every faucet that liberalism is basically in control of? Media, social networking, colleges. If you deny that they are in control of those things, I mean, you're just denying truth. But what's up with, it's so hard for a conservative to try to thrive. I'm not a conservative, so...
Well, you're chained down with me, buddy.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, because we like free speech, we like to be able to talk, you shouldn't be excluded from talking. So no matter what side you're on.
The reason why this Facebook thing is so dangerous is because they're removing the more extreme examples, the people that nobody really wants to defend. And once you give them the right to do this, then they're just going to start targeting all the regular people that they just say something that they dislike, have a political belief that they dislike, maybe even criticize a politician that they happen to favor.
I mean, it's already like that. You know what I mean? Like,
but now they're going to push Trump, removing people for not saying something, but for just being hateful. Well, these same people have the belief that conservatives are just hateful individuals altogether. There are some Gen Z conservatives, CJ Pearson, Michael Crump on Twitter, very cool dudes, you know. Their stuff is deranked. I mean, we're talking about kids, teenagers. They don't post anything controversial. They just share what their political ideology is. You want to call them racist? The guys are black.
Yeah, it's...
What do they do? They derank them. I follow CJ Pearson. I gotta put his Twitter on notifications on so I can see the stuff that's coming out. Because if I don't, it never appears in my timeline unless another person retweets it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You think that this is right? You think it's okay?
Yeah, they do.
I don't get how that's what the left became, because I remember a time, you know, where the ACLU was all about free speech. Before the whole
free speech to a wild degree.
Yeah, before the whole Charlottesville thing broke out, the ACLU was defending the right of actual neo-Nazis to march.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
And that's like something where I would be totally against it.
I'm not for neo-Nazis marching. However,
they have
being
the right
a neo-Nazi
to express themselves.
A crime and marching is part of free speech. And that's just something you got to deal with. Like, here's the thing. Here's how you stop neo-Nazis from continuing to be neo-Nazis. You have the conversations, and you show people just how dumb they are. You don't silence them.
I'll give you a better example.
You actually have debates, and you show the world just how dumb they are.
Look at Megan Phelps Roper.
Mm-hmm.
She was a member of the Southern Baptist, the church of those really hateful bigot people. I don't know how best to describe them. But these are the people who stand outside funerals of U.S. soldiers with signs stating that God wants our soldiers to die because we allow homosexuality. The worst the worst kinds of people. Megan Phelps Roper was a member of that church. She went on Twitter with the full intent of actually trying to radicalize people, trying to get them to convert to the church. What happened? She wasn't banned off Twitter because long before Twitter became an anti-free speech platform, she was allowed to speak to people. And in those conversations with people, she realized she was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, they can't realize they're wrong, and
But now she works to get people out of the church. Imagine if we had these rules on Twitter when she was on it. Yeah. They would just bounce her off the platform, and she would be the same hateful person and never work to get people out of the church. And you know what? I gave that story to someone. You know what the response to me was? Well, how many people do you think she converted? And I go, do you mean before or after? Well, before, obviously. And I go,
I think you're missing the point.
They don't care.
You can't.
They don't care.
Those people will always be able to reach you somehow.
Oh yeah.
But you can't stop people and their stupid ideas if you're not willing to have a talk with them.
Being an idiot doesn't mean you lose your right to free speech and free expression.
Yeah.
But the problem is right now, because these major tech companies really exist in Silicon Valley. Really, they're the San Francisco elites. They're the type of people that have these big city progressive ideologies, and they know that conservatives are wrong. They have the wrong thing. Anyone on the right has the wrong thing, and anyone on the left, look, if they say something controversial, we can find a way of excusing it.
No, not necessarily.
I'm just saying, this is the way that these idiots think.
It depends how far left are you. If you're really far left and you say something really bad, they'll forgive you.
Oh yeah.
If you're me, and I were to say something like anything we've recorded, I would get shamed into alt-right adjacent. What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. Look at Ilhan Omar, right? Whatever you want to say about the lady, right? I think that she's a virulent anti-Semite. For many reasons, I'm just going to go over that list with you right now. It's not just about the whole, it's all about the Benjamins baby, talking about the AIPAC money. I'm not a supporter of AIPAC, don't get me wrong. It's stating that the state of Israel is hypnotizing the world. That's actual Nazi propaganda, if you idiots didn't know that. That's what the Nazis used to say about the Jews.
Left loves
anti-Semites, totally.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Nazi propaganda.
Yeah, well, it's her open associations with women like Linda Sarsour. And let me just go into that a little bit more. Linda Sarsour and the other members of the Women's March were openly spreading anti-Semitic hate conspiracies. Were openly engaging with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, attending the same events. When they were on The View, they refused to denounce Louis Farrakhan, even though any rationally minded person would do it, right? This woman keeps all associations with that group of nasty bigots, and then goes and speaks at their event long after it's been outed what they are. Long after Debbie Wasserman Schultz comes out and says the party is embracing this shit and you need to denounce it. You need to. What are you gonna do? Like, I don't know how you cut it out if you won't acknowledge it. And when she says it repeatedly, again and again and again, when her own Jewish constituents fear her, you can't.
Yeah. Well, here, let me make this part clear. We have a weird thing going on right now. Conservatives in all forms of social media, for the most part, are getting silenced. Whereas people on the left, liberals, are promoting deplatforming taking away people's
speech,
as well.
You are not a liberal.
As well as a lot of them are saying we need to just kick Trump out of office. That's just not how things work. Now you're talking about being a dictator. So you need to silence your opposition. You need to be a dictator.
And remove people from office.
Remove people from office. Like, I don't think you understand, but this is literally what Mussolini did. It's what Hitler did. Like, and here's the thing is, you can call people on the right.
Demonize half the population.
Yeah. You make them seem like you can't sympathize with these people or else you're a shitty person. And so nobody defends these people. As well as being the actual shitty people, being the authoritarians, being the fascists. And it's that simple.
Don't get me wrong. I believe when Jack Dorsey, to an extent, to a very tiny extent, when he says that this is not what he wants to have going on in his platform, I do think he's just got a whole underclass of people below him that fully believe that they have the right to be the thought police, to be the morality police.
Yeah, I don't think that these people are inherently bad people.
That's more dangerous.
Yeah, and that's
so much more dangerous.
That was going to be my second point. I do believe that they think they're doing the right thing. There's some goodwill there. However, when you don't realize how dangerous you actually are, when you don't realize you're taking away people's right to speak, you're actively promoting taking their president out of office, everybody's president in the United States out of office, just because you don't agree with the man.
Like we're talking about.
That's not how our country works.
Yeah, we talked about this in our other video about William Barr, right?
Yeah.
There are people that go out on their Twitter because politicians are now supporting it because the politicians live on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So they're part of this hate brigade.
Thanks,
now.
Trump.
I don't even think it's just Trump.
No, honestly, I know, but I think really made the whole Twitter thing popular for politicians.
Yeah, it's true. But look, you need to get your ass off of Twitter, right? Because when a normal person is looking at this stuff, they just think that you sound insane. They think that you are crazy.
Unless you're on the verge of being left. That's how I fell into it. I was in that trap.
Yeah, I mean, look,
they are recruiting people, man, to be liberals, and I'm gonna tell you,
this is not being a liberal. You know, let's just take that out of the water.
No, but
being a liberal means you are for individual liberty. You guys are not. You are all about seeing people.
That's where the liberals are headed. I mean, that's what they are now.
No, you're thinking about progressives and liberals and leftists and all that shit. You go a liberal, progressive, and then to just a straight up leftist. Yeah. And a leftist is just one of the most hateful things you can be because you see people based on their group identity before you see anything else.
Yeah.
Which, newsflash, that makes you not only a racist and a bigot, it makes you a terrible human being. Human trash, really. And you believe that your ideology is so superior to everybody else that you have the right to tell them what to think. You have the right to tell them what to do. And if they disagree, you have the right to throw them in prison. You don't. You don't have any of these rights. The fact that you're willing to promote removing people for anything from social media. Look, if someone's making a threat to violence, right? Get rid of them. If someone's actively engaging in harassment, get rid of them. I totally support that. I totally agree with that. And I'll even say this. As far as like the misgendering thing, if someone accidentally misgenders somebody online, whatever, dude, who cares? If someone is maliciously doing it, I can see that as harassment. I get it.
Yeah. But it'd be different. I mean, here's the thing is I don't actually, I do think it's wrong if you misgender somebody. Like, don't be a dick.
But if you're doing it to the same person like 10 times over, that's harassment. Yeah. But this other crap is just asinine. What do you find?
Let me read you the definition of fascism, and we'll see if it makes sense.
Does it say
for the leftist
all-right ideology?
No. A fascist is a follower of a political philosophy, a leftist, characterized by authoritarian views. The politicians on the left who are actively promoting impeaching Trump, who hasn't done anything illegal. I mean, that came out. No collusion. And yet still are talking about how we need to impeach him.
And let's say that you wanted to hit him for obstruction, right? You really think people are going to support removing the president for obstructing an investigation which only cleared him of not being a Russian traitor?
You can't...
After saying for 3 damn years, pulling people out of the intelligence community, stating again and again and again he's a traitor.
Let's get back to this.
Yeah.
So, a fascist is a follower of a political philosophy characterized by authoritarian views and a strong central government, and no tolerance for opposing opinions.
Yeah.
Right there.
Antifa, when you take away the ability for a journalist to film you, when you're willing to beat people up because they say things that you don't like, you're the fucking fascist. Yeah. You're the actual fascist.
There's
no denying it. You fit the literal fucking definition of the word fascist. You can keep going. It's a far right ideology. It's not. It's what you are. And you can keep slandering people with that goddamn label, but you are the ones whose actions fit those goddamn words.
Yeah.
It is you.
Well, when you have the leftists on Twitter that are brigading and silencing people...
They're protected.
That's... It's clear. I mean, are the people on the right doing that? No. They don't even have the power to.
No, and even if you have people on the right, and I'll tell you right now, when they removed James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for old tweets, I was like, look, that's wrong. You shouldn't be removing people for shit that they've said in the past. I don't like engaging in the reporting brigades unless it is someone who is just a god-awful person. But when you are willing to do all this stuff, when you are willing to engage in actual fascist tactics, I guess it was Dinesh D'Souza, he's given a speech at a college campus, right? And you got these kids in the back, whenever he's trying to talk, shouting him down. Same thing with like Ben Shapiro and everything. But they show up, they shout you down, and they demand you leave their campus. They want you gone by any means necessary. Michael Knowles, right? They can't shout him down. What do? They go up to him, they throw bleach on him, and the dude tries to run away. It's to disrupt. It's to end the event. It's to end their ability to speak about what they believe politically. And you have people on the left just going, well, they asked for it, don't they?
Yeah, here's the problem. You know, when you're no longer willing to engage in conversation, we've seen that happen around the world. Many places, it's not good.
And when you're doing it, like, don't get me wrong, if you don't want to engage in conversations,
you can just leave.
You can just leave.
Yeah, nobody's saying that you have to listen to anybody talk.
But when you are saying, this is the thing that upsets me, right? They say speech is violence. But property damage isn't violence. So when Antifa wants to show up and flood somebody's office because they're working with ICE, well, that's not violence. But speech is violence.
Yeah.
You are. I hate that. I don't really like the clown world meme. But you are living in fucking clown world, and you've made all of us live in it with you.
I just don't understand though. Like, okay, well, even then, aren't they still violent? Physically and verbally. They'd still fit the definition of violence.
When you talk to these people and you go like, deplatforming doesn't work. Yes, it does.
But it does.
How does
it does to an extent. It makes the problem much worse, but yeah, dude.
No, well, the point of deplatforming, they think, is it removes the ability for the movement to grow. No, it doesn't.
And a lot of them, no, fuck that. A lot of them don't know. A lot of them don't even think about it like that. They're removing a lot of people's ways to make money, and they know it. They want to hit them so that they just can't ever...
Oh yeah, what's going on with Chase Bank is just straight up stripping the accounts from conservatives. And when you try to talk to them and ask them any question, they'll give you up to an extent and then cite privacy reasons. What happened when Sargon of Akkad was removed from Patreon, they were willing to have conversations with anybody who wanted to listen and say what a terrible human being Sargon of Akkad is. All these things that they could find and pull up and share. And the moment you ask them, like, hey, how are you? You actually ask them serious follow-up questions. Well, we don't discuss private accounts. Mm-hmm. Go fuck yourself, Patreon. Go fuck yourself, Facebook, Twitter. Anyone who's going to engage in this level of hatred, this level of just straight up dishonesty and manipulation, you're fascist. You are terrible human beings.
When you're part of any part of that process, if you're not the victim, you're the fucking fascist.
I don't know if we can say anything else to that, because we are definitely entering into a very scary time where you have these groups that have way too much power, have way too much influence. They don't care. They don't have standards that even make sense.
Yeah. It's fucking baffling. And here's the thing: it's like I'm not a conservative. I've said that multiple times on this show.
Neither is Louis Farrakhan, Washington Post.
But I mean, to just deny these things are happening, you're just lying to yourself, and that's the problem. I mean, we live in California. We watch people lie to themselves all the time. Oh, there's nothing going on to conservatives. They're evil. They're bad. They're racist.
Oh, go to UC Berkeley. Go to UC Berkeley with the MAGA cap, and I guarantee you will receive actual violence.
I do remember when the Democrats were the party of, acceptance.
No, not today.
No, you could be a conservative, and yeah, you might not be their favorite person, but you weren't a terrible piece of shit. No. Here's the thing, though, man. If you're a leftist, all the way to the left side, you're a piece of shit.
You are. You're a fascist. You're an authoritarian. Generally speaking, you've said some really nasty racist shit. You're definitely a bigot, at least to Christians, because I haven't met any leftist that isn't just one of the nastiest people about that. But at the same time you're all these things, then you'll praise Muslims. You'll praise Muslims.
This is coming from a Muslim, buddy.
Hear me out. Most Christians in this country are very accepting, very tolerant. You want to say they're against gay marriage? Newsflash. Most Muslims are not even okay to sit at a table with someone who is openly homosexual. But you will defend them to the ends of the earth because they're oppressed.
Yeah.
While at the same time openly mocking Christianity, while at the same time refusing to let anybody even say anything about the Prophet Muhammad. Your ideology is backwards. It makes absolutely no sense.
It's not supposed to make sense.
No, it's just outrage. It's literally all it is.
It's convenience. Outrage. It's who can we militarize? Militarize not in an actual sense, but militarize for your cause. And that's all it is. I mean, it's just pandering. And you silence anybody that you can't pander to. Conservatives, white people, Christians.
It is going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to get worse before it gets better, because you have these tech companies, and it's not even the leadership at the tech companies, it's all the worker bees at the tech companies who all parrot this insane nonsense, right? I don't know how you make it better. I don't know if there's any way of bridging this divide, because you have too much power centralized in Silicon Valley. You have way too much communication that is being censored based on arbitrary rules. We had the First Amendment for a reason. You want to say the First Amendment's a bad thing? Somehow.
How?
Somehow the First Amendment has only served to raise up minority communities. Do you think back before the Civil War that they wouldn't just, if they had the ability to do, censor the speech of anybody against slavery?
Yeah.
Do you think that when they wanted to give women the right to vote, that they wouldn't just censor the speech of anyone who was in support of it? As soon as you remove the ability to speak, as soon as you make it legal, and you know what, Twitter's got so much power that you really need to look at those standards. As soon as they have the ability to start doing that, you're never going to be able to challenge authority again.
Yeah.
Authority is going to rule you, and the leftists are just totally in favor of that because they believe that they can't lose power.
This isn't to say, when I say, if you're a leftist, you're a piece of shit. Leftists are a certain part of the left. They're the far left.
The regressive left.
Sometimes confused with people who are pretty far left. And sometimes they're friends. I'm not saying if you are exactly a leftist. If you're in Antifa if you are actively trying to silence people who don't, like, whose talk doesn't fit your talk, yeah, and I don't think there's really much else for us to say.
Yeah, I think we got our points across. We need to, as much as it disgusts me to have to defend people that are against Islam, as much as it, oh my God, as much as I am personally disgusted to an extreme degree by Louis Farrakhan, who spits on the name of Islam with his backwards, paranoid, pick and choose what he wants religious ideology of hatred, unless they are inciting violence, unless they are engaging in active harassment, you cannot just remove them because you don't like what they have to say.
Even if it's racist.
Even if it is. Look, you know what?
You can only, you can't make a racist not a racist by not talking to him.
No, you can't. And you can't make a racist not a racist by not just not talking to them, but by, especially with people on the left, openly defending them when they say offensive things. Call it out. Let people call it out. Let them get ratioed on Twitter.
I love when the left like stands by one of their people that is just racist.
Well, at the same time, constantly ragging on conservatives for not condemning things.
Yes. Did you condemn this? No, that wasn't even my stance. Why do I care about what this fool said? That's not what I said. Did I say that? And it's like, well, you didn't condemn what they said. Why the fuck should... I think we're getting a little too...
Let me give you an example, right? Trump said the white nationalists in Charlottesville need to be completely condemned, right? He said that. The neo-Nazis, the white nationalists need to be completely condemned, and then he said that there are fine people on both sides. So you have one group that is completely delusional, won't listen to the statement, and believes that he's praising white nationalists. You have the other group that says, well, yeah, I heard the statement, but he wasn't doing it good enough. You don't do it at all. And you go there and you defend people who are constantly towing the line of actual racist content, of actual racist statements, of wanting to promote racial-based policies. You won't say jack shit to any of it, but you're going to go after a guy for things that he didn't say, or for not completely condemning them in a way that you find appropriate.
They were never going to find it appropriate.
No. As far as I'm concerned, your standards are several thousand miles beneath the Earth's surface, and nobody should be listening to you. If you're the morality police, we are totally fucked as a nation. Just completely. Yeah. Anyways, I don't have anything more to say than that.
I will add this. Yeah. You want to know who's on the left? Hillary Clinton. Want to know who's on the right? Donald Trump. Guess which one of them was for gay marriage first?
Guess which one of them called young black teens super predators?
Yeah.
It wasn't Donald Trump.
I mean, he was for gay marriage first. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.